welcome to the PFP celebration event tonight. We're so happy that you're going to be joining us for this evening. We're going to have over 300 guests with us tonight here at the beautiful Nedbank Auditorium. And so stay tuned. We're going to have an amazing evening, lots of amazing stories to tell.
I think it is an honor to be part of a well-thought and thought-provoking idea to begin to address the imbalance in our country. And as our motto states, man only gets but what he strives for. Incidentally, it is a quotation from the Quran. And at that particular point in time, when this idea of starting Iqra Academy, we realized that it is up to us to make the difference. And it clearly states that if good men do nothing, bad things happen. And I think it is time for us to understand that it is going to be a partnership of a special kind to begin to address our education. Now, I want to briefly just maybe give a background of our school. With the grace of the Almighty, we were formerly known first as the Bella Education Center. We were founded more than 14 years ago. And to date, it is the only Islamic high school in the northern suburbs of the Western Cape. The school opened its doors for the first time on the 14th of January 1997. And since then, we have progressed to the 17th group of matriculants. Now, we are humble yet to the fact that almost all our matrics were furthered their studies at the tertiary level in the field of Islamic studies, science, engineering, law, biotechnology, commerce, medicine, business, etc., etc. Incidentally, some of them went to go study actuarial science as well as biotechnology, but from a different kind. And then there are also people that became not only doctors of the general medicine, but also of alternative medicine, and they are practicing today. And we need to understand that this school was a school that was established as a result of the harsh realities of apartheid. It was a question of, we have felt at the time that the very fiber of education, which is shaping man's behavior, is being taken out of the schools, and that is why we went independent. But if we talk about independence, it is not an independent school in the true sense of the word, which is private, where people are making money. It's a non-profitable school. The school fees that they are charging is less than what they are charging in public schools. But the idea was to address the whole question of morality and the question of beginning to engage across the sector. We are associated with the Association of Muslim Schools, and we are indeed very glad not to only enjoy the very healthy relationship with all our sister schools and the tremendous benefit as a result of our interaction, but also we are belonging to the JLC, which is incidentally connected to the National Association of Independent Schools, which give us some form of bargaining chip when it comes to the input of education. We are officially registered with the Western Cape Education Department and provisionally accredited with Umaluzi. Now, Iqra Academy recognizes the need to respond to the current restructuring education as well as the socio-economic, political, and the religio-cultural challenges facing the youth. Now, if I say that, as a principal for 34 years, coming from the back streets of Tafelsig, Lost City, I can guarantee you that the situation hasn't changed. It just became unmanageable. And we have broke away from that to begin to address the whole question of how do we begin to see success? How do we begin to make those learners in those particular areas becoming learners that can contribute to society? And so, yes, our mission statement is clear. We create a culture of learning and healthy competitive spirit environment, which is both discipline and nurturing. And it reminds me of Martha Olkers, who said quite some time back, how do we begin to address quality education? In other words, was good old-fashioned discipline. And yes, we agree. So within our schools, generally speaking, you will find that the number one challenge for teachers is that of discipline, because learners are not being disciplined at home. And so this was one of our missions. Create an opportunity for learners to develop the faculties to their full potential, create an education practice relevant to their daily lives that will bring about cultural and social enrichment, create a personal leadership development program for learners to enhance a proactive principle-centered paradigm. Now that's a mouthful. But our understanding was very clear that if we want to begin to address learners to achieve, then you can have the best kind of tutors, you can have the best kind of teachers. But if their mindset is negative, and it is not proactive, they react to all the negative stimuli coming their way, then it is an exercise in fertility. I think the government also have tried, the Western Cape Education Department, they have tried to address that particular issue. They have outrolled so many tutor programs only to discover there is no significant improvement. And we begin to understand that we need to deal with them on a personal level, we need to develop the mindset. And later on, I will expound a bit more on that. Now, I took a sabbatical 4 years ago and returned to the school in the capacity of principal, and maybe I should just reflect briefly why. It was after 2008 when I discovered that it's an enormous, difficult challenge to try to have a faith-based school that is catering for the marginalized community, areas such as West Bank and extensions of Belhar and Delta and so on, and then still have to maintain quality education. And I have begun to explore the possibility of networking, but it was an enormous task. But in the same breath, what happened was that our results have dropped tremendously. We became an underperforming school. I felt frustrated before I enrolled with part of the possibility program for the following reasons. As a principal, I felt alone because I had to deal with the pressure of a school that was underperforming. I felt it was an enormous task to manage the changes which were negative attitudes of parents, learners, and the lower morale of educators. And I knew change was necessary in order to improve the results. The resistance to from both learners and educators and the negative criticism of parent community was insurmountable. What compounded the problem more was the financial constraints of running an independent school for a low socioeconomic strata of society. There was simply not enough money to pay the educator's salary, let alone providing the educational resources to ensure a quality educational experience. And I want to add here that whilst we have public schools, the one headache that is not there for those principals is the fact that the teachers are getting paid on time. Whereas in the case of this kind of faith-based schools, teachers are being paid below the belt and they still need to struggle where to get the money from. And so at the start of our partnership, it was probably one of the easiest ones, and I'll tell you why. Shamila was incidentally one of my ex-learners way back in 1984. And yeah, and she also belonged to our school board, so it was a bit smooth sailing. She understood the dynamics of our school to a certain extent, and it took however some time to comprehend the full scope of the challenge, because now she didn't come into a challenge where she's been riding the wave with this board and the school is moving forward. She came in at the time being my partner when the school has faced enormous challenges. At the start of the partnership, the school experienced low morale amongst not only the educators and learners, but also the parents. There was clear resistance for structures, even acts of insubordination by educators, where they have rallied and they want this principal to be out of the school now. The tone of the school was not conducive for learning. Learners were not motivated. Teachers were not used to the pressure of striving towards excellence in everything they do. That was a motto, but it didn't happen. The ill-discipline and tardiness of learners were a major concern, and the school was also on the brink of financial collapse. Now you can well imagine the kind of feeling at the time what I felt. It was one, and when Sharon walked into that office, and I wasn't aware that what this symphony is all about, when she walked and she engaged with me, I remember her saying that this is normally a program that we outroll to underperforming public schools. And C need to go back and to discuss whether they're going to allow this independent school to be part of this process. And I started to pray because I needed help. I was alone. And over to Shamla.
I need to quiet him sometimes. So as he shared, when I arrived at the school, he shared with me some of his challenges and constraints he experienced at the school, and also that which he just alluded to. Some of the challenges were financial constraint because parents were not paying school fees. He made reference to the matric results. And I think key to any school is that you need to have a cohesive staff, especially on the management team, which was not currently there. Equipment for teachers to improve a learning experience. And you all know that if you don't have the resources, it makes it very challenging for educators to teach. And whilst all these constraints listed above, we couldn't solve all of them. So we had to select a 3. And this self-imposed challenge, we believe, can only be addressed through partnership with educators and also the business partners. So the 3 things that we focused on was to create a synergy between educators, learners, and parents. And when Louise said, you know, one of those critical factors, it's just, we had it as one of our focus areas, and because we knew the school couldn't move forward unless we addressed these challenges. A leadership program for learners to enhance a positive mindset and to provide educators and learners with the required tools and resources to achieve an effective learning environment. So how did we go about doing it? Part of the Partners for Possibility program is that the partner as well as the principal are fortunate enough to attend certain workshops which you take back, because that is really intellectual capital that helps you synergize. So the community building as well as the flawless consulting workshop have shifted our paradigm to enable us to engage with our educators, learners, and parents in a more meaningful way. We then developed a more comprehensive and effective management team by restructuring the staff management team. We had to redefine their job description for all the staff at the school. We provided tools like projectors and screens to create a better learning and teaching environment, and also allowed our educators to become more innovative, and also to create a parent support team, because without the community, teachers and principal cannot just function effectively. In terms of the leadership program for learners to enhance a positive mindset, the Partners for Possibility created an opportunity for networking with other business partners and principal, which resulted in all the learners being afforded an opportunity to attend a 3-month leadership development program. And I think this is the magic of Partners for Possibility, is that whilst you are the business partner, you're sitting in a room with other 8 business partners and principals, but you'll be amazed at how the networking of those principals help each other as well, which is what happened in this instance. Reigniting participation of learners as they participated in the August quiz, and we also established a boys and girls Kasira choir and the participation in the Nasheed competition, because these are initiatives that builds confidence. To achieve a further learning environment, we looked at the networking opportunities as a consequence of Partners for Possibility initiative provided us amazing opportunities to engage with other principals, as I mentioned earlier. And we also had the digital e-learning solution for the schools. And I want Mr. Samodien just to elaborate more on this for you.
Now, the digital e-learning solution also became as a result of the part in the circle that we were. I'm so fortunate, it was another ex-learner of mine who happened to be part of the circle. He's the principal of Wynberg Secondary School, and they said in their particular principals forum they have discussed the whole question of how can they begin to address the imbalance. You have smart boards and then you have no boards. And so We are now in the process of, and it is being signed, it's being sealed, it's going to be out rolled at the beginning of the third term. It's a tablet which is connected with the teacher, and it's engagement between the teacher and the learners. He can monitor what they are busy doing, he can control what they are doing, and besides that, is all the text with all resources that's necessary, linked to a server of the school, ruckus, wireless, Wi-Fi interconnection, at a price which is affordable. And I would like to begin to say that all those other schools may be looking in trying to address the shortage of resources, whether it is textbooks or whether it is just other learning material. This is the way to go. The e-learning solution to our school comes at a time where we know that most of our learners are struggling to buy those textbooks, because although I'm fighting with the West Cape every year about why is it so that independent schools can't get textbooks, they are not giving us the textbooks. So in this way we can address that particular problem. Now, if we look at the measurable outcomes since our partnership have started, there was a significant increase in our matric results for underperforming school. With 57% in 2012, we achieved 94% in 2014. Hassan Furfrey, a learner at our school, achieved 5 distinctions in the subjects of business economics, 99%, economics, 95%, life orientation, 80, accounting, 87%, and Afrikaans. He missed his English with 1% for his distinction. Otherwise, it would have been 6. On the Western Cape list of top achievers for subject business economics, he came second in the province. We received certificates as a school from the Western Cape Education Department for excellent results, as well as the best improved school in our circuit. Our bachelor passes also has improved by 10%, and the enrollment in our school improved from learners with good results. In other words, what I'm trying to say is no longer the learners that are struggling at another school that wants to enroll. It's also the parents that feel they need to look for quality education. Those learners are enrolling as well. In 2014, we achieved and improved in our internal results, and this was, as you can find all those things. So it is about every aspect of personal development that one can think of. The need to improve our pedagogy was also led to an innovative technological plan, and I've mentioned that about the tablet. We also developed a whole school development plan for 2015-2016. It's out rolled, it's being workshopped, it's continuously being workshopped with our educators, and teachers received a revised job description in a certain way. We had to recontract them into their job in order for us to be successful.
Okay, now this is now my slide. So we've got a timekeeper here, and our time is really up, but I just need to reflect on one. So my personal reflection on the partnership made me realize that, you know, when we make a contribution, we're always looking for the big things, and we sometimes overlook that it doesn't need to be a big thing in order to make a difference in someone's life. I've learned many things from our principal, and I, like you said, you know, when you're the corporate, you are schooled, you strategize, and you've got this plan, and it's an action plan, and we're going to do it by when, and how, and all of that. But in real life, people only are willing to receive a gift when they are ready to receive it, no matter how great plans we have. In the workshops that I've attended, Time to Think, for me, the value of creating a thinking environment, because it's the core of an effective team. And often teams don't take time to just reflect and think. We're always just busy doing. The art of possibilities has taught me mistakes can be made like ice. Mistakes can be like ice. If we resist them, we may keep on slipping into a posture of defeat. If we include mistakes in our definition of performers, we are likely to glide through them and appreciate the beauty of the longer run. In Flawless Consulting has taught me that sometimes the problem is not the problem. By changing our conversations, we can change a culture. And with the community, the structure of belonging has taught me that transforming a community, we need to shift the context of a place of fear and fault, law and oversight, and cooperation and system, And as I'm standing here as corporate representing Nedbank, Nedbank is proud to be involved with Symphonia. To be a thriving bank in a thriving community, we need to do our fair share. And this program facilitates the opportunity to make a contribution in education in South Africa. So thank you very much.